Dr.No in the Senate because you voted against so many things. How does that bode for you?
Well, a lot of people call me Dr.No, and I think that I like it to be qualified. My wife says it should be spelled K-N-O-W rather than just no, because I'm really for a lot. I'm for liberty and freedom, a limitation of government power. I'm for the Constitution. So it's saying no to what's happening in Washington, because Washington is eating away at our civil liberties and ruining the economy, and they're fighting wars that shouldn't be fought. So yes, I'm saying no to the bad things that Washington does.
Absolutely. You ran as the Libertarian Party candidate in 1988, correct?
That's correct.
Why now are you going with the Republicans? What?
Because of the control by the two major parties over the political process. Third parties have a tough time. It's hard to get on ballots. It's hard to get in debates. I couldn't be in a debate like I am tonight if I were in a third party. So the political system is biased against competition. Both major parties are very, very similar. Foreign policy never changes. Domestic policy never changes. Monetary policy never changes. So they're two same parties. And this is the reason they're moving toward a one primary day. And this is also the reason they're excluding New Hampshire from being an important state, because they don't want to see grassroots candidates and get ahead. They want the people who are in charge that get these 50, 60, 70 million dollars from the special interests to be in charge. And that's why they want to have one primary day for the whole country.
That seems like a bad idea to me.
Well, absolutely. I think it's anti-democratic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now, you're against the war in Iraq. What are your feelings on what this country is doing in terms of Iran moving towards confrontation with them?
Well, the war propaganda is being built up just like it was before Iraq. They're planning to bomb Iran in the not too distant future. I think it's terrible. They don't have a nuclear weapon. Nobody knows when they'll get one. They are complying with the International Atomic Energy Agency, and they just want a little bit more time. They want this just until the end of the year, and yet they're beating the war drums for this, and yet they are no threat to our national security. Iraq was no threat to our national security. We didn't declare the war. It's an immoral war. It's illegal under international law, and it's unconstitutional. And to go to war against Iran would be the same thing.
Yeah. Now, you're against the Patriot Act, right? Would you repeal it? Absolutely.
I would repeal. I voted against it. It's just an infringement of our personal liberty for the American government to spy on all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think one more thing. Let's see. What's your view on healthcare?
Healthcare. The government's about wrecked it. They've been involved for about 35 years, and they've turned it over to the corporations. So we have corporate medicine. And since it's a mess, the big government people say, yeah, it's a mess. Freedom doesn't work, so therefore we want socialized medicine. Well, it isn't a free market. It's government medicine. The PPOs and the HMOs and the drug companies, and the health management, management companies, the hospital association, they all run it, and they're the corporations. They're the ones who spend billions of dollars lobbying Congress. And what we need is a return to responsibility for the patient, and you can do that by altering the tax code. The tax code created the system that we had. We have mandated it through the tax code. Individuals don't have the same tax benefits that large corporations have, and once again, this was based around corporatism rather than the market.
Now, you're for something called a fair tax, am I right?
Not exactly. I am not a co-sponsor of the fair tax, because my fair tax is no tax. I want to get rid of the income tax and repeal the 16th Amendment, but I also realize you can't do that unless you reduce spending, and you can't reduce spending very easily unless you attack foreign policy, which means we got to bring our troops home, mind our own business, and spend about $500 billion less overseas, and then you would have enough money to take care of the people that we've taught to be dependent, like those on Social Security and those on Medicare. We don't have to put them out in the street, but you have to change foreign policy. So the tax code is just a superficial argument. The real debate has to be on the spending and what the role of government ought to be.
And would you say it's a fair statement to say that Republicans have absolutely failed to control their spending? And
there's no doubt about it. They act like Democrats, even on foreign policy. They don't accept the Republican foreign policy of non-intervention, and now they've joined the Democrats in all these entitlements, and now we have been forced to borrow almost $3 billion every single day from the Chinese. So we are now dependent on our financial survival by borrowing from China.
Congressman Ron Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.
One more thing. Could you say you're watching Scan TV?
Scan TV?
Yeah.
I am watching Scan TV. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.